Welcome back to your program, People's Imbizo, brought to you by ANN7. Once again, if you have just joined us, you haven't missed it all. We're coming to you from Soweto, Pimville. We're talking about the issue of gun-related violence and how it has affected our families. And you're at home, of course, are welcome to join in the conversation using our Twitter handle at ANN7TV. Again, if you have just joined us, let me reintroduce to you my panel for today. Captain Makubela, South African Police Service spokesperson. We also have Councillor Mabaso. She's a councillor here at Ward 22, yes, thank you, Councillor. Also, Pastor Russ is a community leader. He's joining in the conversation. Community members have also been joining in the conversation, sharing with us their stories of gun-related violence that are actually quite disturbing. Just before the break, we're talking about the profile of a person who owns an illegal gun in this community. Also, the responsibility of community members when they report their cases. Also, the responsibility of South African Police Service, the relationship between the two, and being able to communicate to make sure that they pass valuable information between each other. Now we want to talk about the Firearms Control Act. We also want to talk about gun amnesty. I think in 2005, they actually managed to net about 100,000 guns. Has that been helpful? Will that help with the illicit flow of illegal firearms? Captain Makubela, I will ask you to please respond to that.
Yeah, the issue of the Firearm Control Act, yes, people knows, particularly those who are owning firearms, that what is expected from them. And they know that how to handle the firearm. But if you found that the person who was the owner of the firearm, he passed on, the community members mostly, they don't return the firearms back to the state because that is what's supposed to happen. Yes, it is known that if there is someone from that particular home can inherit that firearm, there is a process which is supposed to be followed. That person have to be competent in terms of handling the firearm, and he have to apply so that he can have a license. So you found that most of those firearms, when you arrest a person and you check the firearm where it might have come from, you found that it was robbed in a certain house where sometimes it was used or robbed with a son of the person who already passed away, but that particular person didn't have a license for carrying that gun. So those are the things which is a problematic. And indeed, the amnesty, it's working when it is there, because there are people who are coming forward and bringing those firearms. But the most important thing, other than that amnesty of bringing the firearms, it's us as the community. As we know that we are staying with these people, and these people, they are owning these firearms, it's for us to make sure that we notify the authority so that that firearm can be removed from those people.
But is it not more effective with the gun amnesty when, people are told, look, you can bring your gun, we will not ask you any questions, we will not arrest you when you come here, you can just leave it here, than to have community members rat, so to speak, on criminals? Is that not a better way of doing it?
Well, it might be a better way of doing it, yes, for the person to come forward. But remember, as it is said, it's amnesty. It's a pardon for the people to bring those firearms. But you found that that firearm which is coming forward, it have been used for many times to kill many people. So it is better for the community to inform the police about the person who have got that particular firearm, so that that person can answer for his deeds. It might...
I don't think they want to do that. They would rather just come and hand over the firearm without any questions asked. And that way the gun is out of the community. Is that not more helpful? I don't know, maybe I'm not getting it.
It is helpful. But the fact is, the most important thing is, when there is an amnesty, yes, there is a time where they are saying, when you bring the firearm, nothing will happen about you. But what I'm saying is that even if that particular time arises and those people comes, there will be still people who are keeping those firearms within themselves. So it's up to us as a community to make sure that we report those people so that they can answer for their crime which they have committed.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Pastor Asawa. And it brings, into the question of whether is it a gun culture that we're dealing with, or a thug culture? Is it the guns that are a problem, or is the mentality of thugs? Because there are people who are legal owners of firearms that use them responsibly. And then we have, you know, criminal activity of people who actually steal these guns and use them for criminal activity. What are we dealing with here?
The bigger picture is that there are more powerful people behind the guns, people that has got the money. And one thing that I just wanted to raise up with one of the community members says, I just want to get back quickly before I forget that one, is that at the end of the day, it is the churches, it is the psychologists and a lot of other people that does the sympathy part with the victims, that does counseling and whatever. As she has mentioned, most of the policemen are just there to do it by the book. They do this, and you know what to me is quite a bit of a problem is, it is so good to say these things on news conferences, but the community down, when they walk into a police station, the whole scenario is totally different. You know, it's totally different when they walk into a police station. It's nice to say that they are trained, they are this and they are that, and that is going to happen, and this is the structure, and this is what you do. But you can ask any community member, you walk into a police station, it's totally different. Like I said, there is no sympathy. They treat it as just another case. It's just something, like the community member said, waiting your turn, wait in line, while people are traumatized at that moment. And it's there where the churches and the NGOs and all these other institutions come in to bring sympathy to those people and help them and assert them. You know, one thing that I want to say about the police force that I was actually glad about, at the incident where this young lady was hijacked, that was the Sunday. On Monday when I got there, you know, just to speak to the family, I found that there were brigadiers of the police, you know, high-ranking officers that was there. So we might as well just compliment Captain and his team on a certain level, that they were there and they were, you know, giving the family that assurance that they are hands-on with the case. In one of the things that I want to mention also is, we need to look at the fact that communities are being held ransom by higher thugs. Not only the gun-carrying guys here in the streets. There are guys that has got more access to finances, great lawyers. That's why you will find somebody that has committed a crime, 2 minutes or 3 hours later, he's walking in the very same street with the same people that he robbed, that he shot.
That's one of the first questions I asked. I said, who is arming these people? There's obviously, you know, a higher force, you know, that is behind this. Who are these people?
That's right. So I think from that perspective, we need to look at to get more intelligence about these people. Somebody said, like the councillor mentioned, one of these taverns. At the taverns are most, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them is a hangout place for criminals. You know, where they sit and strategize, where they wait, where they even spend the very same money and stuff that they've robbed from the community. That's where. So I think what we should do is gather more intelligence, and it boils back to the community again. Let us speak up. Communities are too silent as far as I'm concerned.
Who do they speak out to, Pastor, if you have just mentioned that when they go to the police stations, the way they are treated without any empathy or sympathy, they don't feel like they have that relationship with the police officers for them to be able to tell them this information? Who do they go to?
Like I said, it comes back to the police department, the government, politicians, like our councillors, the churches, the NGOs, and you know, there's a lot of institutions to build back the bridges of confidence, you know. And one of the things that we need to speak out is we are seeing a lot of times, you are seeing too many police cars visiting places where we are wondering what is he doing there, because he's chit-chatting with the very same people that are the criminals of elements of our society. And you can see by the way of their conversation, We might not know what they're talking about there, but by the way of the conversation and the visitations, we can see it is not in a professional manner. You see, so I think it boils back to building up the confidence, the bridges of confidence.
Or perhaps they're gathering intelligence from these criminals. We don't know. We hope that's what's happening. I just want to come back to the community members. Anyone would like to say anything?
Okay, mina igama lami uMando ne community la Imbizo. Thinking about safika in 76 la. Okay, sifika 1976 la. I'm a mother of 2 daughters. Mina my concern is nginomngane ne inizi yakhe by ngale lona le yama taxi le. I think it was last week. eProtitland bekabuye esikolweni. So wagibela itaxi kanti benabo baba abayi3. So wakhomba itaxi wangena ngaphakathi. Thema ke ngene etaxini makumela ahlike so itaxi yandlula. Luckily bekaphethe cellphone wafonela ubaba wakhe amtshela ukuthi no ugibele enye itaxi and manje uyasuspecta labantu laba ngathi laba bake bamrape before because we were recognize oyi1 we were rape last year and she's 19 wenza imatric. So makefonela ubaba wakhe oyi1 recognize ukuthi usefonini amthathele phone bamkhombe ngesibhamu. So it was 4 o'clock ne umngane wami wabhala ku Facebook asho ukuthi ulahlekile wakhipha ne description yakhe. So ngabo 11 khane bekatholakala bathi bamdampe ngapha ngase Kliptown baye bamrape futhi for the second time. And at the first time last year make vuli case but there's no enough evidence and manje sekayafitha bamrape for the second time. So ngithukile mina sengithukele nabantwana bami because lo intombazana lo uku grade 9 and after school wenza ama afternoon classes uhamba ngama taxi. So iwari yami ukuthi kuzoyenzakalani abantwana yini okumele siyenze ukuthi si protect abantwana bethu.
Thank you, ma'am, for that contribution. We'll take one more person, then we'll come back to the panel.
Dumelang Khomotso Diale, community member ya Ward 22 Mopimville. I think the common thread here is, or maybe my comment would be really that it's time now that we actually act. It's time for action. The time for talking, and it's good to have Imbizo like these ones, but I'd like to appeal to the police department. I'd like to appeal to our councillors and actually say that as a community as well, we need to act and stand up. More 22, we used to have community policing forums. I don't know what happened to that. I think maybe as a community we need to come together with the help of our councillor as well. We need to come together and discuss such things and come together and stand up and fight against crime and try. Maybe stopping is not going to be possible at this time, but maybe try to curb or maybe decrease the crime rate that's happening, particularly in this area that we're living in, because now it begins with the individual, it begins with our community. So we need to stand together, number one, as a community, and fight the crime that's happening within our community. Number two, I think the police department, Kliptown, needs to act, Lebon. And you need to hear the cries and what the communities are saying. For instance, what's happening at the back of Kenny's Brick and Tile. I'm not saying let's close down the tavern, but already it's a hot spot, if I might say. So we need to have more visibility of police to make sure, because I don't think such taverns or spots that open around the communities, they attract people from the outside. I really doubt if it's people that live within Pimville or this community that do the crimes that happen around this community. Because we know Melai. Melai is one of our neighbors. He's our brother. So we can't go and do a crime, go Melai, as a community around here. So we need to stop people who come in here with the intention to hurt other people or kill other people or maybe steal from this community. So we need the support of the police department as well to be more vigilant, more visible, and help us to fight this crime. around our community.
Thank you so much, my brother, for that contribution. I certainly appreciate it. And to all the community members that are sharing their very disturbing and devastating stories that, that not only have they been through, but also their family members and their loved ones. Just, Councillor Mabaso, coming back to you, it appears, all this gun-related violence that we're talking about, not all of it is about robbery, but we also have sexual assault that is involved in this. How much of that are you seeing in Pimville?
We do have sexual assault. But not as much as this one that is gun violence. And yes, we've got those sexual assaults. But we don't, as I say, not as much as what we used to have with gun violence. And we used to attend to them. They are reported to police. The only problem that I get as a councillor is that when they are reported, there are those parents who complain that they are not taken seriously. They don't see their cases being attended to the way they would like to. Yes, especially, let me say, we once had many in Zone 9, Samabo last year and the last 2 years, where these small children would be just raped, and mostly those that are not very normal in their head. So men or those relatives that are close to them used to take advantage of them because they are small, and that some are not very normal in their head and do all those things to them. And when you take the case to the police, there's not enough evidence.
Right.
So that is where the problem is.
And just going back to gun violence, Captain Makubela, just I think a few weeks ago, the police minister now, Minister Fikile Mbalula, said we need to deal with criminals mercilessly. But is that do you think that is the way to combat the illicit flow of firearms?
Yes, I think.
How do we translate that to action? I suppose that's what I'm trying to ask. How do we keep track? How do we have a record of illegal firearms in South Africa? Is it even possible to be able to do that?
Yeah, the record is when people report that their firearms are being stolen. Obvious, that firearm out there, it's now illegal. The person who is carrying it is carrying it illegally because it has been reported stolen.
Is there a way of doing it in a proactive manner?
The proactive manner, yes, is for the people to report. That is the only way which can help us to find out how many of these illegal firearms out there. But the problem is these firearms.
Sorry, Captain, that means you're reacting to someone who has reported something. I'm saying, as the police service, is there a way that you can be proactive, not just acting on, someone having reported an illegal firearm?
Remember, our proactive measures is for us to hold roadblocks. It's for us to raid to those places where it is suspected that there are these firearms. It's for us to make sure we search randomly if we see that there are a group of boys or group of men who are driving, or those who are driving these fancy cars particularly, because those are the ones who are carrying these guns, and they pass in many places where people may think that they are gentlemen, whereas they are the ones who are criminals. So those things is the things which us as the police, we have put them in place, and we are doing it. That's why each and every week when you read our stats, we recover many guns from the raiding, from the roadblocks, from all what activities which we are doing. So those are the things which are put in place, and we will continue. But most important thing is for the people, the community, to give us information of those people who are carrying these guns, because that is the major thing. Because obvious, there are people who knows that there are people who are planning to do something, and they are planning to kill, they are planning to rob. And besides that, as my brother was indicating, the most important thing is a community policing forum. And that community policing forum, not to say they are going to work alone, the police will be involved each and every time. We will also introduce, as the MEC, every time she's introducing the patrollers, and those people are assisting to fight those crimes. But we are not saying if you are a patroller, go out there and try to apprehend the suspect on your own. You must inform the police if there are any suspicions of people who are committing those crimes, and the police will make sure that that particular person is being traced and arrested.
Be wise. Don't go with your button stick to someone who's holding a gun.
Don't try. We don't want to put someone's life in danger. The most important thing is for you to observe and see and just inform, so that the police can take the action as the minister have indicated. We have to act in
have
terms
to be merciless.
That's right.
Yes, and just to our viewers, if you have just joined us, coming to you from Soweto, Pimville, we're talking about the issue of gun-related violence. And to be fair, the statistics do indicate that the number has slightly gone down, and of course that is thanks to the South African Police Service, who seem to be doing something right, and of course to the community that is being active with regards to that. Pastor Russ, I think the question that I asked earlier, I don't think it has been addressed. Are the guns the problem, or is it criminals that are the problem?
I think guns is a problem to us. I think they go neck and neck. The criminals and the guns are in our communities.
Because one would say if the guns are not there, then a criminal will use, some other mode of a violent act, be it a knife, be it anything else to either murder someone or to violate them.
But I think one thing that we need to do is we need to urge communities to be consistent, because we cannot only, when something bad happens in the community, then we have all this information coming forth, then we have all these marches and imbizos and whatever. Not that I'm having anything against it, but what I'm saying, it needs to be a constant thing. Even from the police. I mean, one of my brothers just mentioned now that we need to, if they know that there is a hot spot, why is the police not patrolling at the right times? I mean, for the police to patrol those areas at 11 o'clock during the day does not make sense to us. I think if they recognize what are the times, they need to come up with the strategy and keep it up. Not just like for the time when we are complaining, the time when we are airing our issues, the time when we are mentioning it, then we'll find that but it needs to be a consistent thing. It needs to be done. But to come back, what you are saying is it the guns or is it the criminals? I think to me it's a bit of both. They are running at the same level, because the criminals are the ones with money, and they are the ones obtaining. We've seen it like I think some time ago in the Western Cape, where people were arrested, where they were buying guns from the police to be distributed in the Western Cape. I mean, that was in the news. So the money is amongst the criminals, and if they have the money, they have the ability to obtain these guns. And then not only that, they have the ability to get the best lawyers to get them out and get those criminals, the very same criminals that was locked up for gun violence, get put back into society again. And the cycle starts all over again. So I want to share the sentiment of my brother, that if we know there are hot spots, if we know that this is where it's coming from, if we know that this is where it's brewing from, we need to act, and we need to work with the community, with the police, with the councillors, with politicians, and everybody to say enough is enough. We will not be held ransom by one tavern, by one group of thugs, by one individual roaming the streets, or whoever that person is that is benefiting from this crime. Because what you must know, they rob people, they steal cars, they hijack cars. There's a market for this.
Right. And that's why the criminals are there. And I think what you said is very important. Like, let's not have a community that is apathetic, that just really doesn't care and says, it hasn't happened to me, so it's none of my business. I'll have a last round of comments from my panel as we round up. I'll start with you, Captain Makubela. What needs to happen going forward?
Well, what needs to happen going forward is involvement of the community, and community must know that criminals who are coming outside to come and terrorize their community. They are doing so with the help of one of the people who are residing in that particular place. There is no one who can come from Limpopo and come to Pinville Zone 5 where he don't know where is exactly Zone 5 and come and commit crime. That means there is someone in that particular area who is colliding with the criminals outside to come and terrorize his community. So it's up to us as the community to stand up and fight this criminality within our communities.
Thank you, Captain, for that contribution. Councillor Mabaso, issues of community policing forums, any chance of having that coming back within Pimville?
Yes, I think we've got community policing forums. It's just that they start very active. When it goes on, it seems people get tired, not knowing why does that happen. But we're working with police through those forums, where the police will also call meetings, and then they will also engage the community in forming the patrollers, so that people patrol their areas. But then the police will come, patrollers will volunteer. 1 month, 2, they are tired, they are no more active. And criminals like to go where they realize that people are sleeping, they are relaxing, it's just all right. So they know that no one is going to fight them. So I want to say to the community that let's work with police. Let's join the community policing forums. Let's work with our police. Let's patrol. Whenever we've got problems with patrolling, let's talk to our police. Let's talk to our councillors, because I'm also a member of the forums that sits in the police station.
Thank you, Councillor. Of course, Pastor Ras, you mentioned the issue of intelligence. People need to come out with information going forward.
Yes, in closing, I would like to say that we're only going to curb crime once community starts speaking out. Once we start giving the information that we have in our homes, in our discussions with one another, let's give it into the right hands, which is the police, which is the people that are investigating these crimes. What we must remember, crime destroys communities. It destroys the economy. It destroys, people are now seeking to go elsewhere to go and buy stuff, and the finances of that which should be distributed in the community is leaving our areas. And the young people of today, because of crime, because of where they live, the desire is to get out of this area instead of investing back into this area. So it is also bad for the business sector. It is bad for everybody when the crime statistics rises in an area. Thank you so much.
Pastor. I think it's, at times as community members, we don't understand the amount of power that we have. Change is within our hands, be it change in policy, be it change in the government. We are the people that can bring about that change. If we mobilize and have the same goal and speak up and stand up and say, this is the life that we want for our children, for ourselves, it can be done. Thank you for watching the program People's Imbizo, brought to you by ANN7, coming to you from Soweto, Pimville. We shall do this again next week, and goodbye.